Topsy-Turvy by Roger Hargreaves. Miss Topsy-Turvy was a funny sort of a fellow. Everything about him was either upside down, or inside out, or back to front. Topsy-Turvy, in fact. It was all very extraordinary. To give you some idea of how topsy-turvy Miss Topsy-Turvy was, you ought to see his house. The front door is upside down to start with, and the curtains hang upside down at the windows. And just look at that chimney pot, all very extraordinary. Inside is the same. Just look at the clock standing on Miss Topsy-Turvy's mantelpiece. Isn't that the turviest clock you'd ever seen? And just look at the way Miss Topsy-Turvy reads a book. Not only does he read it upside down, but he starts to read it at the back page. And just look where Mr. Topsy-Turvy puts the stamp when he sends a letter to somebody. Have you ever seen anything like it? Now this is all about the time Miss Topsy-Turvy came to the town where you and I live. Nobody is quite sure how Miss Topsy-Turvy got there or where he came from, but he did arrive because somebody saw him getting off the train. The trouble was he did it a topsy-turvy way and got out the wrong side and fell onto the railway line, which really isn't all that surprising, is it? When he picked himself up and managed to find his way out of the station, Miss Topsy-Turvy went to a hotel to find a room to spend the night. The hotel manager tried not to smile when he saw Miss Topsy-Turvy walk into his hotel carrying suitcase upside down and with his topsy-turvy hat on his head. "Good afternoon, sir," he said. "Can I help you?" Now, something you didn't know about Miss Topsy-Turvy in the way he speaks. You see, sometimes get things the wrong way around. "Afternoon, good," said Miss Topsy-Turvy to the hotel manager. "Which room alike?" The manager scratched his head. "You mean you'd like a room?" he asked. "Please, yes," replied Miss Topsy-Turvy. Eventually, the hotel manager managed to work out what Miss Topsy-Turvy was talking about, and he was taking up in the lift to a bedroom. Then Miss Topsy-Turvy unpacked his suitcase, put on his pajamas, and went to bed. He was rather tired after traveling from wherever he'd come from. The following day, Miss Topsy-Turvy went around the town. But what a fuss is his going around the town cost! He took a taxi from the hotel, but so confused the taxi driver trying to tell him where he wanted to go. The poor man drove straight into the traffic light. "Oh dear," said Miss Topsy-Turvy. "I am sorry very." Then he went into a big department store in the middle of the town. He walked up to one of the counters. "I'd like a sock of hairs," he said to the lady behind the counter. "You mean a pair of socks?" She smiled and showed him a pair of bright red socks. Miss Topsy-Turvy put them on his hands. Then he tried to leave, but being Miss Topsy-Turvy, he tried to walk down the escalator, and all the people were going up the escalator and fell over themselves. It was a terrible topsy-turvy jumble. That day, Miss Topsy-Turvy did all sorts of topsy-turvy things. He walked backward across the street crossing and caused an enormous traffic jam. He went to the library and put all the books upside down on the shelves and made everybody extremely cross. Then he went to an art gallery and instead of hanging all the pictures upside down and so that he could look at them properly. And then after Miss Topsy-Turvy had been in the town for just one day, he disappeared. Nobody knew he went or where he went, but he certainly went because he wasn't there anymore. The whole town breathed a sigh of relief. But what the town discovered even thought Miss Topsy-Turvy had left. Was that everything was still topsy-turvy? Read all about, shouted the newspaper sellers instead of shouting, read all about it. News is here, said the television newsreader instead of saying, here is the news. Morning, good, people started saying to each other then when they met. And do you how instead of how do you do? Everybody was talking topsy-turvy. Can you think of something to say that's topsy-turvy? Go on, try.